Well, welcome back, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick thank you video to Demonic Angel. For a long time, I've been expecting her to send me this jar, and it's awesome. I can feel very connected to her through these special items she put in here. It's a wonderful spell. She also sent me something that I did not have, which was a hard-backed copy of the Lesser Key of Soloman. So, appreciate that. I had sent her a book because I had been given 2 copies by accident, and I figured, well, instead of giving it back, why not give it to a friend who can use it and who will need it. So it's just the Crowley and Mathers mini version, basically. It's kind of cool because it is a compact little book. I like a book about this size for ritual, because if you're like me, you like big, thick books, but something for reading directly out of or quoting directly out of, like, I know we're supposed to memorize our evocations, but the reality is I think most people just read from the book. So, traditional symbols and everything. One thing it is showing, it is not showing the pictorials of the demons like normal. It just shows the symbol. It's about the only difference. So, I love it. It's a really sweet gift. Demonic Angel and Carrie from her channel used to be called Eye of the Star. Now it's Tierra, I want to say Ace of Wands. I could be wrong. I might be, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to put it in the description when I'm done. So I want to say thank you to both of you. They have both been working on making videos to find a friend who is missing their brother. He has been missing for a long time, and it just occurred to me, being part of a witch community, why not take advantage of each other when we need help on something. I think that's actually why a lot of people like being in covens, is because you have one person that's great at curses, you have one person that's great at speaking to the dead, you have another person who has a flair for calling the demonic, and you have another one that's an herbologist, and another one that's into spiritual alchemy, or an astrologer, or a combination of the above. But point is, this is what sets us apart from other people, is neither of them asked me for money. I did make a donation, and I'll be making one for Demonic Angel for sure here in the next week or so. And I'll probably end up giving them more before they're done, because we're asking their time, and they've done a lot, spent a lot of time. Carrie has posted I think around 5 videos now that are all very lengthy and detailed to help us find this man who was so dear to our friends and family. So I have a feeling it's going to all work out, but I wanted to say thank you so much to both of you, and God knows if you need me for anything, you know where to find me. So there's no such thing as too big of a favor, and I mean that. So thank you so much. Anyway, on a more the purpose of tonight's video was to review this book. Now, if you're looking at the title and you're looking at the name of the author, you know exactly what this is. It's probably the most popular, or I would say one of the most popular books that the occult has to offer. But this is a different version than the one that a lot of people used to have when I was a teenager. I used to see in Walden's books this little novel-sized copy, literally half the size of this book. This is a big book. Of the Satanic Bible, and as I went through it, I just how do I say it lightly? I'm drawing a blank, but what I'm trying to say in terms that will not be offensive, I guess, is it didn't strike me. And it really seemed to me to be the kind of book that a rebellious teenager would want to have, not to use or take seriously, but to make you feel more satanic, which I laugh at because real Satanists usually don't do most of the things that most so-called or wannabe Satanists actually do. And when I say Satanist, I think that's a horrible term to give anyone, just because, let's say in the magical community that I'm in, the Satanic Bible is not offensive to me, okay? But it's offensive to other people. And it is in direct contrast, of course, to the Christian religion. So this book, the symbols in it, especially the original, I'm just going to say it. To me, the Church of Satan, or any group that is highly publicized, really, to me, is a bit of an issue, just because when that happens, now everybody and their mother wants to be a part of this, okay? So when something becomes mainstream, and I'm sure you guys are like me, if anything becomes mainstream or overly popular, it loses its allure. I'll give you an example. You'll probably laugh at this, but when I was a kid, some of the first music I bought was old school hip hop and rap. Some of the first tapes that I ever owned. And I know this sounds like a crazy example, but over the years, because it has become so mainstream, when I was around 16, I would say, I completely abandoned listening to any more rap because I just couldn't feel it anymore. It didn't strike me. It didn't appeal to me. It was too cookie cutter. It was too average. No one stood out till Eminem came along, of course, but that's a whole other video. I have a very wide a variety of music that I love. Metal and rock and roll will always be my number one, but I have a place in my heart for good music, no matter what it is. So just to clear the air on that issue, again, typical Satanist probably listens to death metal, probably wouldn't listen to The Cure or the Smiths, or, what I'm getting at is I don't like stereotypes. And if you want to just do something because someone else is doing it, and that's what's cool at the moment, then I guess that's your prerogative. But for me, magic is sacred. So, first of all, and they did a good job on this book. This book actually does has some flair. I guess the point I'm really trying to make, without beating around the bush anymore, is that there is something called real Satanism. And that's a whole other video. The Satanists that practice your average Levian Satanist do not believe in the existence of a God. Essentially, they are atheists who have went to the opposite side and are using the philosophy of Lucifer and Satan as a mere philosophy, a way to live life, a way of looking at life. And it's not even so much that magical. You're invoking the basic gods and demons. There's a little Enochian in there. But I guess the thing that I'm getting at is this book has been ruined. The name alone has been ruined because of the people who have misused, abused, and exploited this subject. And, if I'm offending anyone, I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. I don't feel like when I paid $20 for a book, that I'm expecting that much anyway. Okay, so basically, Michael A. Aquino has done a great job of taking a book that was not so interesting and actually putting some things in it that are useful. I did see their own version of the Enochian calls, which instead of being in praise of the Hebrew gods, they will be in praise of course, the demonic. So, this book has a little more meat in it. There's some really interesting photos of LaVey and some other pictures in the back. There's a lot of diagrams. I could see a lot of thought went into this, and it really captures the spirit of Anton LaVey and what he was about. I think that's about as accurate as I could get so far, and I have not read this book front to back, but I can tell you this: if you're going to buy a book because you think you need this on your altar, get this version. The other version or other versions are not going to satisfy you if you're like me. So, this is a very thick book. It wasn't expensive. You can get it on Amazon for $20. This, to me, is a much better copy of that book. And I dare say it's almost a totally different book. If I had another copy of the original LaVeyan publication, I would do a side-by-side comparison, but I'm not even willing to spend the $10 to buy the other version because, like I said, I've held that book in bookstores from teenager years to adult, contemplating buying it, and every single time I put that book back. And you've seen my collection of books. I find it ironic that the only book that I don't own, considering my obsession with black magic, is the Satanic Bible. By the way, if any of you guys have any ideas for what you think a Satanic Bible should look like, tell me what you think should be in that book. If you're going to dedicate a book to Satan and say this is Satan's word, what will that truly look like? There's something to chew on, friends. Anyway, thank you again, Demonic Angel and Carrie, and I will post links to both of you in my video. Thank you again. Love you guys. And thank you for tuning in once more.